Hi, this is Sally's Book Club. Discover the world's greatest books with us every day. Today we'll explore an extraordinary masterpiece in philosophical history. Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, completed in 1885 and divided into 4 parts. This 310,000 Chinese character translation encompasses virtually all of Nietzsche's ideas, serving as a monumental work. Before our analysis, let's establish basic context. Friedrich Nietzsche was a renowned 19th century German philosopher and poet. He arguably possessed the highest poetic mastery among philosophers. Conversely, he demonstrated the deepest philosophical insight among poets. If Kant represents the gateway to classical philosophy, Nietzsche opens the door to modernism and postmodernism. Zarathustra functions as an anti-religious prophet figure embodying Nietzsche himself. Nietzsche uses this persona to preach his philosophy while achieving self-transcendence through worldly experiences. This summarizes the book's fundamental narrative. Why is this considered a groundbreaking work? First, though philosophical, its prose poetry format gives it exceptional literary value, making it a dual masterpiece. Second, its astounding influence. As Nietzsche's magnum opus, it inspired countless thinkers across disciplines and shaped major philosophical movements. Controversially, fascists and Nazis misappropriated its concepts as ideological foundations. Third, it introduced iconic concepts like God is dead, Übermensch, Superman, and eternal recurrence. We'll examine 3 aspects. 1. Zarathustra's journey of preaching and overcoming ultimate weakness through 8 symbolic encounters. 2. The meaning behind God is dead and the Übermensch philosophy. 3. The controversial yet fascinating concept of eternal recurrence. Let's begin with Zarathustra's missionary journey. Zarathustra retreated to mountain solitude at 30, contemplating truth in isolation. Only his symbolic companions, the proud eagle and wise serpent, remained with him. At 40, feeling fulfilled and ready, he decided to descend the mountain and share his wisdom with humanity. His first encounter was a white-haired saint in the forest, who urged him to stay and praise God. Zarathustra rejected the proposal, believing the old saint unaware that God is dead from prolonged isolation. This marks the first appearance of the God is dead concept in the book. Zarathustra then preached his Übermensch philosophy in a town square. Here he introduced one of his core philosophical tenets. Human greatness lies in being the bridge between animal and Übermensch. He advocated self-transcendence toward becoming the Übermensch, promoting new values of struggle, nationalism, and the unity of Bodhi spirit. He rejected Christian otherworldliness. He condemned Christianity's world-denying mentality as pessimistic. He urged passionate engagement with earthly existence. Zarathustra argued, Jesus died too young to learn earthly love and survival. Facing misunderstanding, he resolved to return to solitude, awaiting humanity's self-discovery. He vowed to return when people developed independent identities. This concludes Zarathustra's first missionary journey and subsequent solitude. A prophetic dream of distorted teachings eventually compelled his second descent. He descended again to rescue disciples from misinterpretations. At the Isle of the Blessed, he critiqued modern personalities and Christianity. He challenged God's existence. How could limited minds conceive an omniscient deity? An all-powerful God would negate human agency in shaping reality. Zarathustra condemned pity as deriving pleasure from others' humiliation. He viewed compassion as inherently hierarchical and exploitative. He argued, true love means challenging loved ones to grow, not pitying them. Zarathustra reiterated, God is dead, claiming the devil told him God died from compassion. Fatigue. He condemned clergy for betraying life's meaning through religious dogma. He criticized moralists weaponizing virtue while practicing hypocrisy, echoing Confucius's warning about thieves of virtue. His base people concept targeted not the poor, but those with cowardly, hypocritical personalities. The herd, pronounced Meng, refers to mindless conformists without independent thought. Though individually harmless, these collectives become socially destructive en masse. The herd instinctively resents and ostracizes exceptional individuals. As seen in Jack London's Martin Eden, herd mentality drives protagonists to despair. He further critiqued politicians, scholars, poets, and prophets. Politicians pander to crowds. Scholars bury themselves in dead texts. Poets speak ignorantly, inevitably lying through superficiality. Nietzsche self-mockingly admitted, I too am a poet needing transcendence. Prophets. He condemned as pessimistic Lithidanias, spreading weariness. This critique targeted Schopenhauer's philosophy specifically. Throughout his journey, Zarathustra achieved gradual self-transcendence. A matured philosophy whispered within him, yet remained unspoken. Unready to bear his own philosophy's weight, he departed disciples again. What is this maturing philosophy? It's Nietzsche's core concept, eternal recurrence. We'll explore this later. Now, continuing Zarathustra's second missionary journey. Feeling unready, he departed the Blessed Isle by ship toward mountains. During voyage, Zarathustra sensed eternal recurrence's impending revelation. Before ascending this philosophical peak, he must begin from humanity's depths, the sea. He praised courage to confront life's pain and despair. A demon representing nihilism whispered, Transcendence is self-deception. Zarathustra roared defiance. He vowed to transform nihilism into life-affirming will through courage. At sea, he glorified dawn's purity and sanctified human desires. Rejecting rationalism, he celebrated irrational forces, enabling life's ascension. Ashore, he wandered, investigating modernity's maladies instead of returning directly. He lamented everything modern has become diminished. Modern effeminacy masculinizes women through male deficiency. Ruler's public servant claims reveal ultimate hypocrisy. Modern happiness resembles flies, content with mere survival. Tamed moderns transformed from wolves to domesticated dogs. Educators teach only submission, he thundered. This diminishing will culminate in humanity's extinction. Love yourself through self-transcendence. Despise your current state. He turned critique toward urban culture. Money rules politics. His twisted proverb exposing capital's control. Returning to his first missionary town, he found disciples reverted to Christianity. He mercilessly mocked them. You once pursued freedom like moths to flame, now reduced to cowardly mediocrity. He fiercely criticized Christianity. God is a deity consumed by jealousy. Returning to mountains, Zarathustra continued, condemning society while praising solitude. He advocated revaluing three condemned evils: carnal desire, will to power, and self-interest. Society condemns carnal desire, yet it breeds life's possibilities crucial for transcendence. The will to power terrifies the weak, yet even philosophers possess it through promises of happiness. Noble rulers educate through self-sacrifice to elevate masses. Declaring self-interest. Healthy and sacred. Only priests, misanthropes, effeminates, and slaves attack self-interest, demanding selfless. Confronting his nemesis, the spirit of gravity opposing freedom, he preached, embrace autonomy. Our destiny lies in ascension and flight. I forge my own path where none existed. Echoing Luzin's famous conclusion. Paths are made by walking. Mirroring Luxon's adaptation of Nietzsche. Through relentless critique and affirmation, eternal recurrence, philosophy matured. He composed passionate hymns, celebrating life as eternal recurrence's song. Having chronicled Zarathustra's journey and core concepts, the narrative seemingly concluded. Nietzsche later appended 8 symbolic temptations as philosophical climax. What are these temptations? Compassion. Zarathustra's previous condemnation of pity now faces ultimate test, as exceptional individuals evoke his sympathy. Mediocre masses never moved him, but these potential comrades' despair challenges his philosophy. Will he succumb to compassion like God did? The prophet arrives first. Schopenhauer's philosophical shadow. 2 disillusioned kings follow, symbolizing modern nobility's decay. A narrow-minded academic, obsessed with trivial precision, appears next. The magician mimics greatness without authenticity. An unemployed pope confronts Zarathustra. Your atheism betrays faith. Nietzsche's self-critique emerges through papal dialogue. If I worship anything, it's the divinity of life itself. 2 greater challenges await. The ugliest man, God's murderer, who rejects pity. A noble-turned-beggar mirrors religious founders' misguided charity. His generosity sustains weakness rather than empowering growth. Finally, Zarathustra's shadow peers an unstable disciple. This follower embodies philosophical uncertainty and rootlessness. The prophet's pessimism mirrors Schopenhauer's worldview. Kings represent Nietzsche's critique of modern leadership. The scholar embodies academic myopia. Nietzsche despised. Magician symbolizes performative intellectualism without substance. Old Pope's theological debate challenges Zarathustra's consistency. Ugliest man's self-love paradoxically affirms life's value. The shadow follower's existential crisis reflects philosophical growing pains. He embodies truth-seeking, free spirits yet lacks purpose. Nietzsche's critique of modern intellectuals. Zarathustra welcomed these 8 exceptional yet incomplete figures, awaiting higher beings. Overcoming compassion, he embraced noon's zenith, symbolizing philosophical maturity. My pursuit isn't happiness, but great works affirming life's purpose beyond pleasure. Having chronicled Zarathustra's journey, we now examine core philosophical concepts. 3 key ideas: God's death, Übermensch philosophy, and eternal recurrence. Why did God die? Nietzsche's radical theological critique begins. Traditional morality. Shackled humanity. Slave morality. Protected weakness while stifling human potential. God's demise originated in flawed compassion, limiting human growth. True love demands challenge, not pity. God failed humanity. Divine hypocrisy creating flawed beings, then forbidding self-improvement. Scientific progress dismantled divine explanations of phenomena. Atheism delivered the final blow to weakened faith. God's death liberates human potential for self-transcendence. Religious morality's collapse enables authentic self-creation. The divine vacuum becomes humanity's ultimate challenge. Nietzsche's theological critique targets Christianity's fading aspects. Post-theistic freedom demands new values beyond good. Evil dichotomies. Such individuals become the Übermensch. After God's death, everyone becomes their own deity. All may achieve Übermensch status. We've clarified the God is dead concept. Now, examining the Übermensch philosophy. Nietzsche envisioned Übermenschen replacing God as humanity's evolutionary goal. How does one become Übermensch? Through spiritual metamorphosis. First transformation, the camel burdened and obedient. In desert solitude, the spirit becomes lion, demanding freedom through force. But lions lack creativity. Final transformation brings childlike innocence. The child represents pure potential and new beginnings. Nietzsche's brilliant analogy. Camel says, I must. Lion says, I will. Child says, I am. This metamorphosis initiates Übermensch's development. Next comes struggle against old systems and human limitations. Why struggle to destroy obsolete rules and create new values? Übermenschen emerge only from those transcending mediocrity. Nietzsche's Übermensch, life-affirming creators, constantly self-overcoming. Let all gods perish, only Übermensch endures. This constitutes Nietzsche's Übermensch philosophy. Now examining eternal recurrence, Nietzsche's most debated concept. Some consider eternal recurrence philosophy's crown jewel, Others deem it negligible within Nietzsche's works.
The camel stage symbolizes subservience to tradition.
Lion's rebellion destroys but doesn't create. Childlike state enables authentic recreation of values. Übermensch's creation requires continuous self-destruction and rebirth. Eternal recurrence proposes infinite repetition of existence. This concept challenges individuals to affirm life completely. Nietzsche's tripartite transformation mirrors human psychological evolution. The Übermensch ideal rejects religious morality completely. Eternal recurrence's ambiguity. Feel ongoing philosophical debates. Some claim Nietzsche's mental decline caused incoherent eternal recurrence theorizing. These debates remain unresolved and likely insoluble. Eternal recurrence interconnects with Nietzsche's entire philosophical system. Understanding requires examining Nietzsche's broader works beyond this text. Here's simplified explanation of eternal recurrence. Zarathustra declares, "All things eternally recur, ourselves included." This means we've existed and perished infinite times with all creation. No immortal souls. Everything perishes and regenerates cyclically. Human world relationships also recreate themselves endlessly. Cosmic scale, solar systems, and galaxies repeat their existences. Past, present, future become meaningless in infinite repetition. You might question what evidence supports this cosmic repetition. Nietzsche's flawed mathematical argument. Finite forces in infinite time must repeat. This reasoning contains logical errors acknowledged by scholars. Does this invalidate eternal recurrence's philosophical value? Heidegger reinterpreted it as life affirmation principle, not scientific theory. Post-God. Nihilism risks despair. Eternal recurrence offers optimistic alternative. It proposes joyful nihilism, embracing life's infinite cycles. Two major philosophical challenges remain unresolved. First, how cyclical existence addresses moral responsibility. Second, reconciling free will with predetermined cycles. The theory's poetic power outweighs its logical inconsistencies. First issue. Eternal recurrence means all things, including evils. Repeat endlessly. How should we handle recurring mediocrity and wickedness?
Second issue. Infinite repetition seemingly negates meaning.
Such cosmic horror challenges human acceptance.
Zarathustra fainted, confronting these implications.
Awakening brought dual solutions through radical acceptance. We are causation itself within the eternal cycle merging process and purpose. Repetition isn't progression, but fundamental reality. Thus, separating evil's existence from recurrence is necessity. Will. To power and Übermensch, transcend cyclical burdens. First problem, resolved through active philosophical engagement. Affirming process itself becomes ultimate meaning. Second problem, dissolved through existential embrace. Key distinction from Buddhist reincarnation. Nietzsche celebrates recurrence. Nietzsche focuses on cyclical affirmation rather than escape. Buddhism seeks nirvana beyond samsara's wheel. Thus concludes our exploration of Thus Spoke Zarathustra. We've traced Zarathustra's journey through Nietzsche's revolutionary concepts. Will to power, another crucial Nietzschean concept, appears throughout. Nietzsche's complex relationship with Schopenhauer and Kant shapes his thought. His ideas bridge modern consciousness and postmodern philosophy. God is dead remains philosophy's most atomic proclamation. Nietzsche's poetic brilliance compensates theoretical contradictions. Existentialism and postmodernism owe deep debts to his radical vision. His legacy endures through shocking truths and lyrical profundity.
We marvel at his romance with Salome, yet lament his mental decline into madness.
This is Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Our exploration concludes here. Find keynotes below the audio. Until tomorrow.